Every step here is important, and when we go through and list a property for rent, we're looking at each of these things to make sure that we're giving our clients the best bang for their buck. Hi there, this is Aaron with Access Property Management. Today I'm going to go through listing and advertising your property for rent. So there's a lot of work that goes into listing any property for rent. You can see there's a lot on the board here I want to go over. Every step here is important, and when we go through and list a property for rent, we're looking at each of these things to make sure that we're giving our clients the best bang for their buck. The first step is to make sure that all the maintenance is done. Having incomplete projects when you're trying to show a unit, it just gives a bad first impression. And even though those projects will be done when a tenant moves in, a lot of times they just can't get past that in their mind. So if they do move in, they're going to remember that. Or they just may not move in at all. You may just lose that prospect. The next step is cleaning, of course. We always emphasize professional cleaning. Getting the carpets cleaned professionally, keeping the receipts to show prospects or tenants if they ask to show that it was done. Don't skimp here. Hiring a professional cleaner is always worth the money, and they'll do a great job, and you won't have to worry about scaring away potential tenants. So maintenance and cleaning, it's going to be the first step before you actually get into creating your listing, which then involves taking pictures. You want to take good pictures, and I know this sounds silly and it sounds remedial, but getting a good picture is a little more difficult than you might think. If you've ever looked through rental listings, you're going to notice a lot of bad pictures right away. Bad pictures turn off tenants. A lot of times people are looking online, and that is the first impression that you give someone is going to be that picture. So make sure that you're getting good pictures. How do you do that? You want to make sure that your frame is square when you're shooting a shot. Try and pick a horizontal or vertical line in the room and line up your camera with that as best you can to get a good square shot. Use natural light. Open your blinds a little bit, turn on all the lights in the room, and just make sure that you're getting a good, fresh amount of light in the room. Make sure, again, that your blinds are adjusted properly. Make sure your toilet seats are down. You don't want any clutter in the picture. If you want to stage, that's fine. You can stage, just make sure it's not clutter and it doesn't look like a mess. At Access, we watermark our photos. You may consider doing that. That looks much more professional when those are online. It also helps deter scammers on Craigslist, for example, from stealing your photos. So you might consider watermarking. We also do video tours. So on our vacant properties, we're going to take tours on our phone, take the video, and edit that into something that a prospect can look at. Just another way for them to get some exposure on the property without actually being there. Once you've got your media in place, you want to do your rent comps. Now, this shouldn't be the first time that you're comping rents for your property. Obviously, you want to do this well ahead of this point, but you need to do it again here before you list because rents can change pretty quickly. You want to look at what's been for rent in the past in your market, what is currently for rent in your market, and not only what those dollar amounts are, but how many properties are for rent in your market. If there's a ton of properties on the market, it's only going to take longer to lease your property. So you can take that in consideration when setting your rent price. Maybe you come in a little bit lower than the majority of the properties on the market and try and lease a little faster, as opposed to getting the same or a little bit higher, which might take longer when there's a bunch of properties on the market. Now, the opposite of that is true also. If you're the only property on the market or there's very few properties on the market, you can market a little higher or at the same rate without expecting a lag in lease time. So now at this point, creating the listing, you've got your pictures, everything's clean and maintained, you've got your rent price. Now it's just a matter of creating the listing. So it's important to be consistent across all your marketing platforms. This is the point where you want to show off and highlight the best features of your property and why you have a good property to lease and why someone would want to lease from you. Obviously, doing this online, we've been talking about online a lot. Online is the primary search function these days for renters. They're looking online, Zillow, Trulia, HotPads, all those sites, we all know those names. You also want to consider using a yard sign if you're in an area on a busy street or you get a lot of walk-by or drive-by traffic. This can be another way to get additional attention from people in the neighborhood. Maybe people who already live in the neighborhood, they're already familiar with it, they want to stay there. It's just another avenue to attract people. And most importantly is don't discriminate. If you're not sure, always contact your local fair housing agency. Talk to them about it. Make sure you understand the laws and that you're not violating those laws. If you have any questions about leasing and advertising, please fill out the contact form. We'd be happy to talk to you about it. There is a lot that goes into this, and this is probably the most important step when preparing a property for rent, is getting this right, and that will set you up for success in the future. Thanks for watching.